Hey boys and girls, Night Stalker here, loading in today on Kurak Castle Siege. We're going to do just something a little bit different today and slow this right down. We're going to hit pause. So, the reason I've chosen to break this down a whole lot today is there's actually a lot of things I can't explain that are happening while I'm playing in these games. So this is a video I recorded before I went away on holiday for the last week and a half or anything like that, so apologies that I haven't had any videos to upload, that's why. Although I did gain 50% subscribers by going on holiday, so I'm thinking perhaps I'm going to go on 2 holidays a week and we'll see how that works for me. In the meantime though, I'm going to tell you a bit about this. So there's a couple of things that I'm looking down here when I look at the team. You can see over here, I'm going to do this on VLC Player because I don't have any software to be able to sort of do this on top of. So this was free, right? Let's use that. I can see we've got a fairly balanced team. You know, we don't have too many ranged weapons. We don't have too many dual blades. Like too many dual blades on your team just really hurts your frontline damage output and things like that. So when you're choosing units, you can take into account these sort of things. Nondachis are a fairly weak unit, weak hero, especially at the high levels we're playing at. It's quite surprising to see 3 in one game and on one team, especially at the level I'm playing at. We're sort of about just shy of level 600 or something. Yeah, dual blades don't help a lot in the front line, and they tend to get chopped up. And too many ranged heroes, of course, means that the same reason as the dual blades, you can't get stuck in on the front line. But we have got a whole bunch of glaives. You know, poleaxe is good, short swords are excellent, mauls are just demon spawn. And the other sort of thing is you can see what people are picking. Don't take this as gospel in terms of artillery pick. It's just as what it is. And then, of course, the first unit people have chosen to take out. So what I'm noticing here is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranged units and 1 unit of village watchmen and 1 unit of Metallurgy. On defense, it's really, you know, you don't need to take your peasants out first. There's something to keep in mind. I've chosen down here, you can see Prefecture Guard to be my first unit. And the reason I've made these unit choices is quite specific as well. I don't just go, all right, I'm going to play my favorite units today. Well, I do that a lot, and sometimes I'll change 1 or 2 down this end of the choice list. This here is called a warband. So in my warband today, I've got my Metallurgy, who are the 30 leadership premium unit, and I think everybody should have this unit. I paid money for mine to get them because I think they're so good. Only 30 leadership, they give you a 10% bonus to bronze, 10% bonus to glory, 10% bonus to honor, 10% bonus to hero experience, 10% bonus to unit experience, which is the key thing. And they actually have a good use as well. They're terrible fighting in close combat, but they do have, when they're pushing siege engines like, you know, the ram or the siege towers here, they give a defense bonus to the siege towers, and it's excellent. They also get a 10% damage reduction on themselves while they're pushing the towers, and the towers get some ridiculous amount. You know, it does 1500 less damage with a cannon, sort of thing. It's crazy. Now the second thing is I chose is these Namkhans. The reason I want to use these Namkhans, I should say with this plan that I'm working out with you here, it never survives first contact with the enemy, as any good general knows. But this is my general idea of why I've picked these units and where I intend to use them. So Namkhans, there's a safe zone here in the back of the area here. So if we push back to our final point, often you'll get cavalry and things coming around this way. But if you can put a ranged unit in the glowing blue safe zone here, they can shoot anything along here with absolute impunity. They can't be harmed at all. Heroes run up to them and hack at them, 0 damage. Cavalry charge them, 0 damage. I've actually got another unit, another video somewhere down in my really old back catalogue before I was even really doing proper videos. It's called something like How to Safe Zone or something like that, and it's a good example of hilarity. The other thing is I can stack them in the tunnel here so they can't be trebbed. Like they can be trebbed in front of the tunnel, but my plan is to put them in the tunnel and block them up. There's so many of them that they get really tightly grouped up, and they can shoot quite effectively out onto anything that's pushed here without exposing them to gunfire and things like that. The Condottieri and the Prefecture Guard are both choices that I can use pretty much anywhere. So my general thought is I'll use 1 at A and I'll use 1 at B. So that's my thought. They can fit in quite nicely anywhere, especially when to attack the B point, you can come around the buildings like this, into the side or up the front, or even around here. You know, the melee units are always good on your endpoint, and they're very good. You know, particularly Prefecture Guard with their Prefecture Drill, or the Condottieri with their Shock Attack, are great for ripping apart blue, green, and white units, which is what we're fighting here today, because this video was taken prior to me going on holiday, when there was only these available in the early part of the season. So of course that's a great choice that we're going to make for that. Oh, my screen just went dark. I don't know if that came through, but we'll find out. And the last is my Coutiliers. So they're little lance cavalry. They're pretty terrible and they have bad formations, but they're only 130 leadership, as you can see there. So there's a couple of spawns at the back here later on, once you're being pushed off the front line, and they can come out of here, and there's a nice big charge lane here to be. There's a nice charge lane here to use, all the way down here, or you can take them all the way around and charge into the back if people are pushing B past the edge of these steps in between the building. And there's also a nice charge lane down here that you can use them in. And a nice long wide charge lane is good for the Coutiliers because they have a really odd formation. It's either really super wide or really super long, and it's only 2 people deep. Think of them, their formations like a pike unit lining up, right? It's pretty terrible, but they actually do pretty good damage with those lances on the charge. So that's why I've chosen these units. And hey, and of course I've just got this little green huachar here because it was sitting in my backpack doing nothing, and I thought, why not get some infantry kills for my quest or mission or whatever you want to call it. Having said that, let's press play and see where we're going. I should have done my talking over that last 11 seconds, but turns out I'm not that smart. Alright, and then we're going to have a look at what the enemy team's doing as well. Nothing really changed, no choices, differences there. So the enemy have 1, 2, 3 dual blades. That's not great for them. They have an Adachi, couple of Adachis like we do, bunch of spears, muskets. So they've got a nice, reasonably balanced team as well. And we can see from the season rating there, they're all about the same sort of experience. So it's fairly balanced in terms of team comp. Tick tock, hurry up, game. It's really easy to see people that you've played before when a lot of the players are written in a language that you don't understand. It's really easy to recognise people that you've played with a few times. Alright, so when we load in here, my first point of order when I played this game, I've just wiped the audio from this. I was actually speaking and talking over the video, but I thought I'd put a bit more detail into this one. And if you're wondering what that armour is, it's just simply the season armour from Season 6. So I have noticed that there is not a lot of, hang on, I was going to pause it here. We have noticed that there's not a lot of people defending B points. So I'm going to split off and come back across, which is not common for me, being a longsword player. I like to be in the thick of things where there are other heroes to support particularly. Now, you can see everyone's parked up the units down here. The reason for that is the siege artillery that can come in and over. I can't turn the camera to look, but over here is the stairs up. Now, those stairs are vulnerable to artillery fire from artillery units over this side. The other side of the A point, the left-hand side as we're looking at it, is not vulnerable. So you can leave your units on the stairs like this. Just keeps them out of harm's way while you decide what you're going to do. You know, there's no point in bringing them up onto the wall, although there is a spot up here. That's a good spot for units that are tightly compacted, like these. Pike Militia would be fine in there. Condottieri are great in there, but the guard that I've got, the Prefecture Guard, have like a really wide formation that's supposed to protect the commander or something, and it's not great formation, but it is what they've got to work with. Hit play. Clearly, when I recorded this, I was in no hurry to get up the walls, but here we go. Now, when you're killing or shooting at artillery, you've got 2 ways to stop it. The first is to kill enough units that are pushing it to stop its advance, and the other one is to, of course, kill it itself. Now, see that gold shield? That's those Metallurgy I was telling you about at the start of the game. So this siege tower has a significant damage reduction on it. I'm trying to shoot both infantry and the tower at once. You can see that if the cannonball goes through the infantry and hits the tower behind it, it will do damage to all of them. However, as you can see, I've been missing the tower and hitting the units, so I haven't been doing both. I'm trying to. You can see some of my shots are doing that, but it's quite difficult to do. And if your goal is to kill the tower, just shoot at the tower. Don't bother shooting at the infantry. But we're going to try and do both, because as you can see, there's no other, you see on the mini-map down here, there are no other units anywhere close. So if we destroy this unit, they're going to have to run all the way back to the supply point and all the way back to get the tower. So we're going to make sure that we've killed enough of them that they can no longer push a siege unit, and then we can ignore them from then on. It just, you know, you don't need to wipe the unit. You just need to bring it down to a level where it's no longer useful. And that applies to all units, you know. If you see someone running away with, I don't know, 2 monastic knights, let them go. They're not coming back, you know. They might. You know, 2 monastic knights is not completely useless. 2 of anything is not completely useless. But it does make the unit combat ineffective, which can be sometimes your goal. Just kill enough of them to make them go away. Same with heroes. If you knock a hero all the way down to 10% hit points, they're out of the fight, you know. Well, they're not out of the fight. I'll just go back 10 seconds and pause, because I wanted to talk about this. They're not... A hero on 10% health is not out of the fight, but they are extremely vulnerable to being killed. And the most likely course of action is they're going to run away and heal. And that's going to put them out of the battle for at least the immediate future. So that's something you can do, especially if you're a unit like a hero like a longsword, where you don't really have the ability to finish people off. Now, as you can see here, I'm using up these last cannonballs on this tower, even though I've got no hope of killing it. I did notice before some of our friendly artillery was bombing the tower, so I thought I'm going to contribute to that, and maybe they've got enough ammunition or whatever left to finish it off, but that's not the case. However, I do have this little green huacha. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And we're going to set it up over here. Oh, and the ladders come up. Now, of course, I can't see anything on the mini-map. And my friend is knocking that down, so I can see the red dot on the mini-map now. But my friend is knocking down the ladders. He's also a longsword, so we're in a bit of trouble if the guy gets up here, because we can CC him and knock him around a bit, but it's unlikely to kill us. And I've quickly realised here that no matter how many of these huacha shots I put into this tower, I'm not going to kill it. And of course the huacha is far too inaccurate to be able to kill all of the units pushing it. We'll have a go though. Apparently I was thinking, why not? A couple of more kills for my quest mission. And you can see on the right hand side here, he's just climbed up the ladder. The reason I didn't jump off immediately is because the reloading bar here, right, it goes to full, and then I start shooting before I see him. And what happens is if you jump off a huacha without finishing your salvo, it stops the salvo immediately. So I waited for the salvo to finish. I lead in, I hit him with the ability that takes his movement down by 50%. Oh, and I'm locked into the combo at this point. But he's gone now. And then I make a minor error of, whoops. So really that's the lowest I can traverse. But this is pointless. And look here. Right? If you skip back, you'll see that while we were fighting this longsword, these guys came up and attacked the unit behind. Our friend went back, so what's happening? Do I need to support him? Probably not. He's got pike militia there, right? And those things are deadly from the front. But I can see very quickly that his numbers are thinning out, so we'd best go and help him. And it looks like he actually got attacked in the back, and that's why. Now watch this. See here how I've pushed my unit through. The reason I've pushed my unit through with a move command, hitting X, is so otherwise you're going to get 5 or 6 units stacked here fighting 5 or 6 other units. I want them to move and mingle inside the enemy unit. That would make me take more damage, right? But you can see, you know, they're pretty banged up. And I've got Prefecture Drill. They would have already used their ability, this thing down here, Prefecture Drill, which gives you a massive bonus to attacking. And these will already be used fighting the pike militia. So I'm going to bring them inside the unit, and I'm going to pop that ability, and we're going to wipe them out. See how they all come inside? Right? Instant wipe. Easy. Now, I saw someone ask on Reddit, why do people spam X and bring their troops using X rather than using C to follow or double tap C to run to you? That's so they stay in some semblance of their formation, right? So these guys have that like circle block formation. If I hit C, they'll just string out in a line behind me. If I double tap C, they'll do that as well, string out in a line behind me. I'll just keep talking about this before we go to the next thing. Double tapping C, especially when you're going long distances, you've seen them how they string out a long way, and they're very vulnerable in that method. They are faster. I don't know the exact figure. I would say about 10% maybe faster when you double tap C, but they arrive in dribs and drabs, which is fine in some stages where you want the speed over the block, the formation. But for something like Prefecture Guard, who are really reliant on fighting together and things like that, especially things like paladins or Fortebraccio pikes, anything like that relies on fighting close together, which is most things, if not everything. Archers, maybe if you're moving them onto the top of the wall, you want them to start shooting as soon as they get there. That's fine. But for something like an infantry unit, spamming X to move them along will keep them in that formation or a semblance of the formation. It'll also help if they get stuck on things like, see this, sometimes the units get stuck on those and can't get around them, so you're issuing new commands continuously and they'll continue to follow you. It's not as fast to get them there, but they'll all arrive as a unit or close enough to a unit that it really matters. So that's why you see people like Evo or King Alpha or Podjo, these people, you'll see the same thing, spamming that X key as you move into position. Right, the reason I'm waiting here is I'm sort of deciding, I've got 24 seconds left on my cooldown for my Prefecture drill down here. And I also want to pop off another heal before I charge into a unit of blimmin' halberds that are braced. But here we go, I'm using my ult to knock down the halberds as much as possible so that fewer of them get brace damage on my unit. And of course they're healing slowly as they go. Now this is an interesting one. What's actually happening here, you'll see it in a second, is he's told his peasant unit to charge in, and he's dropped a siege, what do you call it, a trebuchet, on top of us at the same time, hoping that his peasant unit will hold us just long enough for the trebuchets to impact. You'll see this in a second. I might just move it back a bit, and you'll see this pause as he does that. So here comes the unit. He's pausing there, see him? He's dropping a trebuchet there, and that was a cannon, wasn't it, for mounting. But we actually chopped through this unit far too quickly. And here comes that trebuchet. It does hit us, but we were too far beyond. That's a really good tactic to use. Oh, here we go. That's a really good tactic to use. But we had Landsknechts and Prefecture Guard and also heroes that just blitz through you too quickly to be able to pin us in place long enough to danger close treb on us. Now, what's happening here is that I'm looking at this and thinking, what should I do? What should I do? And let's see if you notice what I should do. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Did you see it? Did you see what I should really be doing? I'll go back in the video. This time I want you to watch the mini-map. Watch the mini-map here. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Oh, who's that behind me? And then I notice him just in time before he went back off the mini-map. And I let my team know that he's coming. Just keep glancing at your mini-map. You don't have to sit there and watch it. If you're sitting on artillery or something, it's not that big a idea, big a deal to keep watching it. Now I'm forced into a position here. Do you see how I got on my horse? I'm trying to keep as much of my hit point intact as possible to try and fight two heroes that are sitting on my base and the units coming too. So I've got on my horse to jump off the wall, and that way, watch here, the horse will take the damage. And then you can immediately jump off and you don't have that animation where you're pinned on, on the ground. You're straight into it, and then you can launch straight into an attack coming off it. Now I'm in desperation mode. I'm very unlikely to live here versus a spear and a dual blades and their unit, but it was desperation to hold that B point, and it's given our team enough time from our little ping and our dedication to actually save the point. Regrettably, the Prefecture Guards, 16 of them, are now going to retreat. Hang on, I'm going to pause that. Are now going to retreat through the battle because they were following me, and that's the position I dragged them into. So that's my fault, but if I'd lived a little bit longer, I could have done Prefecture drill or charged in and things like that. Now, something to remember is when you retreat towards where the safe zone is in your map. So you'll remember at the start of the video. I'll try and put a picture in a picture here when I actually publish the video. But you remember back to the start of the video, I said where the safe zone would be for the archers to sit in. They would always retreat back to that. Here we go. Of course, the new way of doing retreating now is that they'll retreat 5 seconds before you respawn, or if you hold down the B key, you can automatically retreat your units, which is really great. That's one of the best improvements they've made in a long time. As you can see, our noble sacrifice did manage to save the B point. It did not save our unit. But I can see I've now got a chance to bring out Coutiliers because of my low. I hadn't died before, so very low. Very low respawn time. Now, this charge, when it happens, will probably look like I'm going to miss. But you've got to take it in the context of the game. These guys can't get to them too far away. Here's a couple of stragglers. What they're going to be doing is, see these things here? They're fast moving and loose, which tells me that they're cavalry, or probably cavalry. So these guys being pikes, they're Prefecture pikemen, are probably going to either, they don't have a brace, right? So they're either going to have to move out of the way, you know, this way, this way, this way, or this way. They're not going to go towards them. They're not going to come towards us. So this is the way that they're going to go. And, you know, if those are cavalry that I can't see, they're going to charge. And it turns out that they were cavalry. Now watch this. So it looks like the charge is going to miss, but it's predicting where this unit is going to be. I must admit, I'm not the world's best cavalry player. I don't play them enough because I really don't like them. I like playing with infantry, and I hate games where there's too much cavalry. But that's just me. You might love them. Anyway, here we go. See that? And we got a whole bunch of them. And of course that's wiped everything attacking the B point other than what's up on the hill behind us. Just waiting for that to be captured before I can click on it and heal my Coutiliers. Now what's going to happen next in this video is that I'm going to get caught with the wrong unit. Like there's no one, as you saw on the map there when we opened it, there's no one there that our team can see within the city. So I've got a unit that can't do anything right now. I can't get up on the walls and there's nobody to fight. So they were getting shot by the archers there, so I told them to move to the other supply point. But I'm going to quickly change to my archers to undo that problem that we've got on the walls there. Here we go, spamming the X key. Put on the damage, and here we go. They're not firing by themselves, so I'm going to have to direct the fire, which is unfortunately means we're going to take a volley in return. That's just one of those things. For whatever reason, they didn't want to self-attack. But we are going to chop that unit to bits, especially with our friendly heroes up there. And now we're done with the unit. We can put it back and we'll go back to a unit that we want to use. Don't be afraid to pop out a unit to do something very specific. You know? And these guys here, actually, this is just luck. I didn't plan this in any way. But it shot these people here, and then they're going to retreat from that position because they perceived that they were going to continue to get shot by archers, which they aren't because I don't have them out anymore. You know? Time is ticking away, 3 minutes left. Now watch this. What did I do there? Instead of having the infantry follow me, which would have been longer, I'm going to tell them to go over there. Because that way they're going to come through this direction rather than come around and follow me or anything like that. And that's not a big thing, but it's going to get a few seconds advantage in their runtime. Now, individually, these little things don't mean jack or his brother. But when they all start to mount up, when you do lots of little things in combos, you know, or in sequence that will advance your game, all of those little things add up. You know, every $5 note that you put in your pocket, you know, $5 isn't a lot amount of money, but if you put every $5 note that you had away over the course of a year, you're going to have a lot of money. And that's the same concept. You know, try and go for those little advantages everywhere. Here we go. Condos are going to get there as I do. Now, they're nowhere near as fast as a hero, although they are quite fast, the condos. So, I've correctly predicted that they're going to continue to attack up the siege tower. Fortunately, one of our buddies is in there with his Prefecture guard, two of our buddies, and so that won't be happening today. So what do? We can see that the A point is safe as houses, so is our B point. So we're going to put them in here. Again, because they're tread safe, you can't tread them from any direction on the stairs. And also they're not visible to people who are just peeking up the towers or anything like that, or peeking up the ladders. They think there's nothing there. So this is a very good spot to use. Spacebar sounds very loud today. And there's our friend going back. We're down to 2 minutes 20. It would take a lot for them to win at this point. B is the obvious point for them to attack. Oh, I'm just going to talk about the screen too. B is the obvious point for them to attack because it's half captured already. If you don't know much about the screen, this is how many people are total on your team. if somebody leaves the game, they'll still be counted in there. We have 14 people alive, as you can see, and 1 dead there. So it's just a little quick reference guide. So we've got 1,700 soldiers left, 500 dead, 14 heroes alive, 1 hero currently on cooldown dead, and we have 15 total. This here is participation points. This one here is how many hero kills you've got. This is how many deaths. This is how many assists. This is how many troop kills you've got, and this is how many artillery pieces you've killed. Now, most of you will know that. Sorry. Something I just wanted to note about assists here is that the way assists work, if you don't know, is if you do damage to a hero and they don't heal between you when you've done that damage and them dying, then you will get an assist. I think maybe, I can't prove this in any way, there may also be a timer on it as well. But, you know, for example, if you get, you know, an archer, 1 stray arrow hits a hero of your archers and wounds that hero for 800 damage, and they're like, I'm not healing 800 damage. And 30 or 45 seconds later, they get jumped on by a friendly dual blade and killed, you'll still get the assist. Something you just may not know. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is this column here. Now, I don't know how many people know this, but this shows what units your team has in play. For some reason, he's got no units. Now, what that suggests to me, this guy too, is that all of his units are already dead, and he's got nothing left to play with. He's hero only at this time. Or he might have got his unit killed and he's running back to the point to get more. This is the other thing. But this can tell you how many, you know, for example, units of cavalry the enemy have got out. You know, should I bring out my pikes? Oh, they've got 9 units of cavalry. I should definitely bring my pikes. So on, so on. And this is what your team has got here. So if you think, oh, I'd really love to use my Namkhan archers, but you see that 5 of your team already have archers out, take another pick, bro. It's not going to work, you know. You can't have too many archers and guns and, you know, ranged units in your team. It just totally rips up your gameplay for your team. So try and avoid that where you can. Anyway, back into the game. So we're standing in a pool of blood when we zoom back in. That's nice. And we notice that this hero here has overextended himself greatly. Now we've got a friendly unit bringing up a unit, and he's trapped between. I'll skip back again. See, there. See over here, we've got a unit retreating down, and then a hero is going to come up on our team. The enemy's here. I don't know when it's not highlighted. And then he's going to see them and start running back this way. Then he's going to see my unit and start coming back here. Now he's not even on the mini-map for some strange reason. He's gone stealth, but he's a spear hero, I think. He's going to end up going up these stairs up here. And what I predicted and got ready for is him to try and make a rush for the siege tower. So I got the charge ready for the condos to try and pin him in place and mob him, which would have been nice because then I can CC him with my hero, and those condos will easily rip up a spear hero. See that? Just got ready to do that. Up come the pike militia. Now this is, I just consigned myself to taking some casualties, but the pike militia embrace are nasty, especially against lighter units like condos. But I got stuck in there as well, and then we're going to countercharge these iron caps, which is going to go as well as you might expect. So then we're going to get in there with the hero. My object here is to get past the iron caps, who I know are going to get slaughtered by the condos, especially with their shock attack, and get into stunning these. See here, when you hit them, they come out of the brace briefly, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just keep them out of the brace so my condos don't get stabbed in the face, or the spleen, or anything else that's really important to them. And we happily quite easily finish off this unit here, especially with a friendly glaive. Glaives are just absolute monsters when it comes to dishing out damage. And we dodged a treb somehow as well. That was a bad treb by them. Now something really interesting happens here. I'm going to put them back on the healing point. You know, I've only got a minute left. I figured that if anyone's going to push here, at least they'll be close, right? But what I haven't noticed at the time is down on the mini-map, this guy's still here. Why is he still there? I have no idea. I don't notice that until after I've told my Condottieri to run over there. And he's sitting there grinning and rubbing his little hands together. Of course. But I do notice him there. That's where I notice him, and flick back around. And I set a little trap. Here's that charge I was telling you about. Ready, go. Now, if he had been on foot properly and I got that charge off a little earlier, he probably would have been killed by this unit. As it is, he's going to kill about 13 of them or something like that. But he's going to get so badly beaten because we were prepared for him that he has to jump off the fall. And of course, when you get beaten by a unit of condos, you get laughed at. Ha 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 ha. Alright, game's pretty much over at this point. 30 seconds left to go. We've got 3-4 condos. We'll just tell them to go over there and attack anything that gets in their way. Maybe they'll get a couple of kills. Who knows? We'll drift back, just in case the A point's captured or something silly like that, we'll be ready. But really the game's over. There's nothing left to do. Bring out the Coutiliers. Maybe at the time I thought I hadn't brought them out or whatever to get the experience for them. But with 6 seconds left up there. And that is a complete breakdown of the game. What do you reckon? So this is just me. I was actually, you know, when I made this video initially, I was talking over it and things like that. We got 1 million damage here, which is great for these, you know, having blue and green units, right? Well, he's a white unit. We'll just have a quick brief pause here. 35 for the condos and 19 for the prefectures. Now, I was quite surprised by this. I felt that the prefectures did much more damage than the condos, but the condos absolutely wrecked people down that siege tower. And then they wrecked those iron caps, and then they wrecked into those peasant pikemen. Coutiliers, 13 kills. That's quite impressive for Coutiliers. You know, especially when we had most of the unit left to reuse. You know, Namkhans, we only lost 3 maybe. They got 9. We only used them very briefly to get those archers away from the top of the walls where we didn't want them. So that, you know, that was a tactical decision to bring them out and then put them straight back away. Playing again. No idea what I was talking about at the time. I do know what I was talking about here. I was like, oh my goodness, this dude, look, see? He's got 245 participation on defense. Right, that's incredible. That means he single-handedly held the A point, because I know he wasn't there on the B point, except, I don't know, was he one of the ones that ran back to help? But that guy, you know, he's only got 59 unit kills. It doesn't matter, man. That's an amazing score. He probably single-handedly contributed most to the game, you know, even above these guys. So well done to him. That's, you know, if we had lost the A point, it would have been a much longer game. Now this screen is something I want to talk to you about. I use the screen a lot because it helps me get my mind around what mistakes I made and what things I do right, which is why I always have it at the end of my videos. So you can see up here, what I know of that is the remains of the prefecture, or some of the prefecture guard charging into the halberds. And that was always going to cost me units, and I prepared for it and agonized over it. But they did kill. We did wipe the halberds, and we did wipe the unit of peasants behind them and avoid that filthy treb. Was that a good decision? It's a balanced decision. It was trading a unit for a unit. You know, we did have half of the unit left, but they got dragged back through this point when I did the suicide block onto B. That's called body blocking, when you jump onto the point just on your own to try and stop it being captured. And most of those will be the rest of those bodies getting killed. This here is a couple of prefectures who died when they came up round and engaged the other prefectures, but we did wipe the unit, so that was a good decision. This is the condos who got killed by the hero. Yeah, what else could you have done in the last minute of the game? I don't know. Was it a good decision? No, I should have noticed them up there and kept the unit with me. So never say to yourself, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You've got to understand why you made those decisions and understand how you can make better decisions in the future. So my mistake here was that I just assumed he'd left, you know, and I wiped out the unit. I knew there was nobody else in here, so my brain turned off. And of course, by the time I noticed on my mini-map that he was still there, it was too late to save my unit. I did try and do something fancy and it looked pretty cool, but ultimately he killed 13 odd of my unit in the last minute of the game and got away scot-free, even though I laughed at him. You know, who's the bigger fool? I lost my unit. And this is the other half of the condo unit who charged down the siege tower, and that was fantastic. Those deaths were very worth it. It was a great decision to get involved on those pikes, you know. It's not always a good idea to fight pikes in the front, but I knew that I had them here, because pikes don't fight very well on ladders or stairs or siege towers. So it was a good decision. These here were the Namkhan archers that I lost while shooting at the fire archers or incendiary archers, whatever they are on the wall here. I wish they had started firing on their own. I don't know why they didn't. We wouldn't have lost any in that instance, but life's like that. And I think that's pretty much wrapping up the game. That's all of the things we can think about. Anyway, that's my full breakdown of how I think and move and do things within a game. Tell me in the comments below, did you like this style of video? I don't know. In any which way. Yes, hello pussycat. Yeah. Any which way, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. Have a great day, and we'll probably be back with more videos in the next 3 to 4 days. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, Knight here. Thanks for watching my videos. I make these in my spare time for a bit of fun, so hopefully you learned something or you just enjoyed watching. It would really help me out if you would subscribe and like my videos. See you on the battlefield.